If you are capable of causing depression to yourself, I'm saying this not without any concern for your illness or not due to lack of compassion, because that is the nature of what's happening to you. If you're causing depression to yourself, you are able to generate substantial amount of intense emotions and thoughts, but in the wrong direction. If you don't have very strong emotions, very intense thoughts about something, you cannot get depressed. It is just that you are generating thoughts and emotion which work against you, not for you. So you are strong enough to cause depression to yourself because for you to cause a mental illness for yourself, unless you're pathologically ill, which is just a small number of people, rest are all self-created. Most of them are self-created. A few are pathologically ill, they cannot help it. It just comes from within because of genetic and other factors. Almost everybody here, if we train them towards a certain kind of thought process and emotion and push them a little bit with the outside situations, almost everybody will go lose their mental balance. They will become clinically ill. They can be driven to madness, I'm saying, because the line between sanity and insanity is very thin. People keep pushing it. You get angry, you're pushing the line. It's a thin line. In fact, when you get angry, you know you're pushing the line. That's why the expression, I was mad at somebody. You're not mad at somebody, you're just going mad. You cannot be mad at somebody. You're just pushing your sanity, the boundaries of sanity, and moving into insanity for a certain period of time and coming back. You do one thing every day, you try this, 10 minutes a day. Try intense anger on somebody. What? You will see in 3 months' time, you will be clinically there. Yes. Just try it if you want. Because if you keep pushing the line, you go mad and you come back, you go mad and you come back, one day you're not able to come back, that's all. One day you're not able to turn back, then you're clinically ill. You must understand, even if you got angry for a moment, you're already ill. Maybe you don't get the certificate of diagnosis. They don't slap a certificate on you that you're gone, but you are going, isn't it? You think it's your right to throw tantrums, you think it's your right to get angry with people, you think it's your privilege to be depressed so that you'll get attention from somebody. You keep playing this, one day you will not be able to turn back. Keep crossing the line every day, one day you will see you cannot cross back. That day, you need a doctor. Till then, everybody needed a respite from you. But the day you can't cross back, they get the respite because now they can catch you and give you to a doctor. Otherwise, you're temporarily going mad every day, many times a day. They cannot even send you to an asylum, they have to bear with you, your family, your friends, your people around you. If you get at least truly clinically ill, we can hand you over. There's one temple in Tamil Nadu, where they chain you and keep you. Where there is no hospital, no psychological for ailments, there's no hospital, there is a temple that somebody created which is supposed to push people back into sanity. So, families just take them and leave them there, they're shackled and left in the temple. You give them some money, they'll feed you, and you're just there like an animal, tied up. I think if hospitals were run like this, a lot of people wouldn't go crazy. They would maintain their sanity. Right now it's too deluxe. If you make hospital extremely comfortable, it'll become an incentive to become sick. And you have incentives in your life to become ill, right from your childhood. You got the maximum attention only when you fell ill. When you're happy, they screamed at you. When you squealed in joy, they screamed back at you, adults. You… then boo-boo, 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 boo-boo. When you are a child, physical illness is good because you'll get attention from your mother and father and everybody around you, and you don't have to go to school on that day. So you learn the art of falling physically ill. But once you get married, you learn the art of becoming mentally ill. Because if you want to get attention, you go sit in a corner, act depressed, people will pay attention to you. So, you keep playing this game, one day you're not able to cross the line back. That day, you're clinically ill. Unfortunately, in many ways, not just in the way that I said now, in many different ways, I would say 70% of illnesses on the planet, all kinds, are self-created. Even if you get an infection, there is a way. If you keep yourself in a certain way, physically and mentally, the virus and the bacteria will not work the same way as it works upon somebody else. If you set yourself like this, no matter what's happening, anyway, I have to go and do this, this and this. There's no break from that. The last 29 years, I have not been able to cancel one program because I'm running temperature, I got a cold, I got this, I got that. It doesn't matter what's happening, what you have to do, you anyway have to do. You can't turn back on that. Either out of your commitment or you have a boss like that. One way or the other, if it happens, then you will see, you will not at all fall sick so often. Because if you have temperature, you still have to go. If it's summer, you still go, right? Now, a lot of people don't go. It's a little hot outside, they don't go and work. Little cold outside, they don't go and work. A little raining, they won't go and work. A snowflake, they will not go and work. This is just weather. So for every change in weather, if you have the comfort of covering yourself in a blanket and lying down, once you create that, your body will learn to fall sick as often as possible. If you just keep it this way, it doesn't matter what it is, anyway I have to go and do what I have to do, you will see your body will just bounce back as quickly as possible, even if it gets the worst kind of infections. So, you just have to set the necessary conditions for health, necessary incentives for health, both for yourself and your children if you have them. Do not set incentives for sickness. The child is sick, observe him from a distance, never go cuddling. He knows that's the worst time of his life and he knows he has to get well soon. And give him the best attention when he is joyful. You will see he naturally learns from within. His very chemistry will learn that it pays to be joyful, it doesn't pay to be sick. If you make this very clear to your own biology, to your own chemistry and to everybody around you, you will see people will not fall sick as often as they are right now. So set that up for yourself. You will see you will get healthy. If you can turn your mind this way, you can also turn it this way. I want you to understand this. No, I'm like this because my father abused me when I was 7 years of age. If you know all that bullshit, you can as well turn yourself around, isn't it? It's time. You must understand, mentally, physiologically, chemically, energy-wise, you must clearly understand it doesn't pay to be sick, unhappy, depressed. It doesn't pay. To be joyful and ecstatic, it pays. If you make this clear to all these people inside, they will all behave properly. Why do you want to conquer them? See, you will want to conquer something that you value, isn't it? Do you want to conquer something that you do not value? See, why would you take the trouble of conquering something that's of no value to you? You must… if you want to conquer, would you want to go and conquer a wasteland or would you want to go and conquer a rich land? Rich land. If you were a king, what would you want to conquer? A rich kingdom you would like to conquer, not a wasteland. You don't want to go and conquer a desert, isn't it? So why do you want to conquer something that you don't want? I know, I understand. So first drop the idea of conquering. Right now, are you angry? No. So why should you conquer it? It doesn't even exist. How do you control or conquer that which does not exist? Once in a way you get angry, isn't it? Why are you getting angry? Because suddenly your body, your mind, your energies are not behaving the way you want them to. They're just doing their own nonsense suddenly. That's anger, isn't it? So, anger is not in constant existence. That which is not in existence, trying to control or conquer that is just going to be a wasteful effort. Sometimes your mind turns unpleasant. One form of unpleasantness is called anger. Or in other words, sometimes you turn unpleasant. One form of your unpleasantness is referred to as anger, other forms of unpleasantness are called by many other different names. We'll just take anger as an example. Why would anybody make himself unpleasant? Why? There is sufficient unpleasantness in the world. Where is the need for you to make yourself unpleasant? Right now, you are in this kind of childishness that if situations around you are unpleasant, you will also become unpleasant. But you tell me, is there any intelligence in this? Especially if the situations around you are unpleasant, is it not all the more important that you must be very pleasant within yourself? Yes? Is it not all the more important? But right now you're in this mode, this childish mode, that if outside situations turn unpleasant, you'll make your insides also terribly unpleasant. There is no intelligence in this, isn't it? Somewhere, when it comes to ourselves, we are refusing to employ our intelligence. I am not telling you don't get angry, it's up to you. If it's a pleasant experience, get angry all the time. But generally, whenever you get angry, you suffer more than your victim, isn't it so? Yes? What is the point? Why would you create unpleasantness to yourself? There is enough unpleasantness in the world. However you walk in the world, you will step into something unpleasant here or there, isn't it? Isn't it so? However you try to avoid, somewhere you will step into some unpleasantness. Is there necessity that you have to manufacture your own private unpleasantness? Is there such a need? No. So why are you creating things that you don't want? Why are you creating unpleasantness for yourself? You just don't know what you're doing with yourself, that's the only reason. isn't it? Absolutely. Unconsciously, you're trying to go on. You do one thing. With your eyes closed, right now try to drive to your home. You may make it one day, you know? One day you may make it. You may bump a few people and still make it home. But try for a few days. You will not live few days. Isn't it so? So right now it's just like that. You're trying to handle your well-being with your eyes closed. You will not know well-being. It doesn't matter what you do. You have to handle it with your eyes open. Don't worry about your work, you give it up. What do you want? You want a roof? I'll give you. You want food every day? I'll give you. All you have to do is just sit in one place and be blissful. I will feed you for the rest of your life. Can you do? No, you want to mess up something every day. People say they're only working for a living. I said, don't worry, I'll give you shelter, I'll give you food every day, no problem. All you have to do is, I want to see tears of blissfulness every day. That's all the requirement. You don't have to do any work, you don't have to serve me, you don't have to produce anything, nothing. Just sit here blissfully, we'll feed you, we'll worship you. No. So the problem is not in your work, the problem is not in your life, the problem is not in the world that you live, the problem is just that you have not done the necessary things for this one to flow through this effortlessly, beautifully. The necessary work has not been done and we're just hoping it'll happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. Lot of people in the world think United States of America is heaven. But people who live here don't think so at all. Isn't it so? Isn't it? Lot of people in the world are dying to get an entry into the country. If you open up the southern borders, 10 million people will enter tomorrow morning because they think this is heaven. But you are not experiencing it that way, isn't it? You are not experiencing this as heaven because hell and heaven is not a geographical place. Hell and heaven is what you make out of yourself, isn't it? Too much talk about heaven has been going on because there are too many people who made a hell out of themselves. If you had made a heaven out of yourself, would you talk about going to heaven? If you sit here and you're feeling ecstatic right now, would you aspire to go to heaven, I'm asking? Once it happened, early 20th century, an Orthodox Greek church, a bishop from that church, you know, Orthodox Greeks have their own separate church, they have their own pope who lives in Turkey, you know this? So a bishop from this order had heard so much about Indian mysticism and he wanted to go to India, but he never got around to make it because he had to serve the cloth that he wore. And after 60 years of age, when he is semi-retired, he got the opportunity and went to India. So he came to South India, near where we are, and he wanted to meet a mystic, a yogi. So somebody said, go up this mountain, near a cave, there is a yogi sitting, you can go. So our man went, plodded up the mountain, halfway up and went. In front of a cave, an old man with a gentle smile upon his face was just sitting with his eyes closed. So the bishop went and prostrated. He cannot do it, he's not made for that. But they had told him, if you go to India, you have to crawl. He prostrated like this and with all his four limbs he got up. The yogi looked at him with amusement. Obviously, he has never prostrated anywhere before. And he smiled. Then the bishop said, I am like this, I am a bishop. I have served in the church for so long, but I have a few questions, can you answer? The yogi smiled and said, yes, please, whatever the question. Then the bishop asked, what is life? At the age of 60. What is life? So the yogi closed his eyes, became very blissful and said, life is like the fragrance of a jasmine on the spring breeze. And tears of blissfulness flowed out of his eyes as he was saying this. Then the bishop said, no, no, no. Our Pope has told us life is like a thorn and we must renounce it. And even symbolically, Jesus himself wore a crown of thorns. So, how come you say this? Our Pope says otherwise. The yogi looked at him, smiled and said, well, that's his life. So, what you make out of it is not because of where you are, what you are, it is just what you make out of it, isn't it? Yes. So, have you created the necessary mechanism? Have you created the necessary system? Have you created the necessary ingredients within you to make this like the fragrance of jasmine on a spring breeze and not a thorn? If it's a thorn, we must pluck the damn thing out, isn't it? Isn't it so?
Yes. You cannot be as peaceful as a cow. Try as hard as you want. Yes? Can you? You cannot be. You may manage it, you eat, they're not serving today, but I think there's a restaurant open. You eat a lot of pongal, it does usually. You know why people in the south are so peaceful? You eat a lot of pongal. Very peaceful. It does. So, people have tried excessive eating, intoxicants, excessive indulgence in pleasures. With all these things, they have tried to create some kind of peacefulness within themselves. You thought you got there, but next moment you know you're not there. Any number of times it's deceived you, isn't it? Yes? One Saturday evening, your whole family met, all of you had a wonderful dinner, you thought this is the height of the world. Everything is so wonderful, magical. Tomorrow morning you see, not because there is something wrong with your family. It is just that with limited entity, you're trying to create an unlimited space. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Nothing wrong, it's just that it doesn't work. There are lots of great things in the world which don't work. I'm not interested in them, that's all. You interested in great things? Are you interested in great things? Oh, thank you. I'm not interested in great things, I'm only interested in things that work. I don't want to… There are lots of great things, people claim they're great things, but they don't work, they have not worked for anybody. They're great things because somebody says so. They're great things because somebody thinks too much of himself and whatever he says or does must be great things. but they don't work. We are looking for something that works. If you are determining the course of your experience right now, 100%, you're beginning to, the legs are bloody, legs are aching like crazy, but still, it's beginning to work. If you are determining the nature of your experience right now, 100%, let's say, we have to assume that, if you are, then would somebody have to tell you, please create a pleasant experience? Would somebody have to tell you? No. So somebody telling you be loving, be blissful is all bullshit. Yes or no? Because nobody needs to tell you, be pleasant. The problem is you're not able to determine the nature of your experience, isn't it? Yes? The problem is you're unable to determine the nature of your experience for whatever reasons. If you could determine the nature of your experience, nobody has to tell you, be blissful, be loving, be happy, be this. This is all coming from, patchy ideas about life. You see somebody fighting, you say be loving. You see somebody unhappy, you say blissful. It's most insulting. When somebody is in a great state of unhappiness, going and telling be blissful is most insulting, isn't it? No? But these are all the great teachings on this planet, which have been on for centuries. These are all great things that have never worked. So, we are only seeing how to determine the nature of your experience. If you take charge of what causes experience within you, if you are in charge of that, I'm 100% sure you will make it very pleasant for yourself. And I'm also sure, if you are feeling very pleasant within yourself, you would be naturally pleasant to everybody around yourself. Unfortunately, people have taken it upon themselves to confuse the humanity so badly about their own nature. See, it's very simple, it doesn't take any damn scripture or a guru to tell you this. It's very simple, whatever the nature of your experience, it's happening within you. Is it so? You don't need some great yoga or a scripture or a guru or a stone that falls from heaven to tell you this. If the nature of your experience, whatever is the nature of your experience, whether it is fear, anger, love, hatred, ecstasy, agony, everything is happening from within you, it would be very natural for human beings to look and see how to make it into a most pleasant experience, isn't it? If you had not freaked them, God loves you from up there. If you had not exported love to heaven, lot of human beings would have been very loving human beings. But now we have exported it out there, you have to import it. For importing it, you need permit. And there are agents here who don't give those permits so easily. It's not coming across because all the love has gone to heaven. How to get it now? Here there's a priest standing here with a permit. He won't give it to you. Whether you want to experience blissfulness, whether you want to experience love, whether you want to experience ecstasy, whatever states of pleasantness human beings have known have come from within them. Is that so? So, there is no need to apply for any permit from anywhere. You just have to become willing to explore what this is, to bring this to the most pleasant state. Not because it's a virtue. Love is not a virtue. Bliss is not a virtue. To be pleasant is not a virtue. It's just that that is the way you long to be, isn't it? It is not that if you're loving, you'll go to heaven. It is not that if you're ecstatic, you'll go to heaven. It is just that if you're loving and ecstatic, you don't need a damn heaven. People who've made a hell out of themselves want to go to heaven. People who've made a heaven out of themselves, where do they want to go? Wherever the hell they go, they don't care. So, it's very, very important. If you want to ensure… Is the volume correct? If you want to ensure that the sounds that this one produces is good, the more you know about this whole mechanism, the better sound you produce, isn't it so? Sometimes by chance it may happen, that's different. But the more you know about it, the better. If you are a sound engineer, you produce good sound. So if you are an inner engineer, then you make this the way you want. That's all it takes. It doesn't need anything. It is just that because it's in a different direction than the way you're constantly looking through your sense perception, you need help, maybe. Not necessarily, but generally, yes. You need a certain amount of help, but that's all. Grace is just that help, that it creates a conducive atmosphere to slip in. If any machinery has to perform well, people have started using these words everywhere these days. You need lubricants, some lubricant. Try to… whatever the great car you have, try to run it without oil. Not 10 minutes, it'll be ruined, isn't it? It's the lubricant which is keeping it going. All this great machinery, without that little bit of that thin film of lubricant, it's all destroyed in no time. Grace is just that little lubricant so that things happen smoothly. Now they've started calling it liquid engineering. Everybody started doing it. It's appropriate. Takes liquid engineering. So, this takes little engineering. Grace is just a lubricant. Without the lubricant, if you try to work, the friction, just the friction of life has destroyed too many human beings, isn't it? Yes? Nothing big they did. All they did was simple things. They were born which was not their doing, they didn't do such a big thing. That just happened. They just want to eat well, sleep well, fulfill their basic needs. This is all they want to do. In the process of doing this, how many human beings are broken and bitter and destroyed? Because no lubricant. Nothing wrong with them. They're trying to work their engines without a lubricant. That's all it is. Just see, even your cell phone is working because through thin air, they're conducting the sound for you, isn't it? We can just disturb that. Those advertisements, hello, 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 hello. You're seeing those things. Phones become like that because there is a little bit of disturbance. That's what is happening with this also. This is a far more sophisticated instrument than anything that you have seen. This needs a little bit of attention. If you pay attention,